Jagrata. Coming into a new year, which is a very, very good time to take inventory. If you're not careful, what your life will be is something very, very simply complex. It will be, I am not okay. I mean, it's anywhere from I'm not okay to I'm drowning. It's not okay. It's not a nice space inside. And because there's not a nice space, I need things. I'm not talking about I'm hungry, I need food. I'm not talking about I'm cold, I need shelter. Those are physiological things. You need to take care of those things. I'm talking about inside, in your psyche, where you live inside. It's just not at peace. It's not content. It's not comfortable. It has fears, anxieties, insecurities, self-consciousness, embarrassment, things that happened to it in the past that it's not comfortable with, that keep haunting it, coming back, ghosts, monsters inside, right? It's very important to start there. People don't want to start there. They want to start with love and happy and God and all this kind of stuff, all right? You're not going to get anywhere starting there. Why? Because it's not your starting place. Now you're just lost in mind and imagination, just another want. So you have to start with reality if you want to grow into something that's really real. And the reality is, with almost all, meaning you might as well say all, human beings across the entire planet. I don't care what culture you're in. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're male or female. I don't care if you're sick. I don't care if you're healthy. I don't care if you're rich. I don't care if you're poor. It doesn't seem to make any difference, does it? It is not that comfortable inside. And so because it's not comfortable in there, for whatever reason, doesn't matter, it's just the commonness is that it's not comfortable, it's not contented, it's not at peace, it's not serene. Because of that, you want it to be. It's a natural thing to want to be comfortable, to want to feel safe, to want to feel well-being. It's natural. Just like it's natural that your body should feel healthy. If you have pain and something's hurting in your body, you do something about it. You go to a doctor. You don't just sit there and ignore it and say it doesn't make any difference. It does make a difference to you. You want your body to not be bothering you. You want it to feel healthy. You are to look at your psyche as just another body. It's not you. It's just another body. Of course you want it to be well. Of course you want it to feel contented. Of course you want it to feel healthy and peaceful. It doesn't. The problem is, for almost all of us, when the physical body isn't doing well, that's an exception. So you do something about it. When your psychological body is not doing well, it never has. It's your norm. And so you just kind of get lost in it. You're just there. So what do we try to do about it once you understand the reality of what I'm talking about? And I'm saying if you watch, you will see it's constant. You will see that almost every moment something's bothering you. And that's nice because I said something. I didn't say some things. And you'll notice that those things that are bothering you are arranged in a stack. So they are. They're arranged in a stack. In computers we deal with stacks. And there's the current one that's most prevalent going on inside. Somebody said something 2 seconds ago that bothered you. Somebody didn't say something 3 seconds ago and that bothered you. You're really weird. You thought of something that bothered you 3 years ago, so it's bothering you again now. Yes or no? Right? Isn't that what goes on in there? So that's what I call the POM, the problem of the moment. If you were to solve that problem, if somehow you prayed and said, oh, if you'll just, they do that to God, if you will just solve this, I'll be so happy. The moment that is no longer the POM, pop, off the stack comes the next one. You could be sitting in a room by yourself with no input and it would be happening. It's not that something outside of you is causing this. It's you have an entire stack that goes back to probably birth of all the things that bothered you or could bother you or would bother you or might bother you or maybe will in the future. Who the heck knows? It's weird in there. And at any given moment, it's bothering you. Can you see that? So we like to think of ourselves as positive people. For this discussion, don't. Be real. Why do you need to be a positive person? Because I need to overcome all of these problems that I have. So instead of giving in to them, I'm not somebody who gives in to all these problems that I have and all these insecurities and fears and stuff like that, right? I'm a positive person. I believe that someday this won't be going on in here if I do this or I do this or I do that. See, I haven't given up yet. It's still the same starting place, which is it's a mess in there. So now, as you take inventory, don't get lost in it, just please notice. That's the first thing you're going to see with witness consciousness. You're going to witness that you're a mess. That's good. I thought witness consciousness was supposed to be spiritual and I would see God. Maybe eventually. But for right now, if you're honest and you look, that's what you'll see, what I just told you. And you'll see that the world moves and it makes the stuff pop inside. Who's ever noticed that? Somebody starts to walk towards you, it gets weird inside. Somebody walks away from you, it gets weird inside. Somebody stands too close to you, it gets weird inside. It's unbelievable. Okay? It's absolutely unbelievable. Almost anything you see, almost anything you hear, almost anything that gets in hits something that's inside. I told you, if you want to understand, see it figuratively. Imagine that your psyche is a lake, just like a lake you would go visit. It's a lake of energy. The world comes in and drops into the lake. What happens when things drop into the lake? Causes ripples. That's what's going on. Doesn't care if it comes in through your ears, eyes, nose, throat, taste. What happens when you put something in your taste? Oh, it's too sour. Oh, I don't like this. It was better last time. God, is this good? Is the expiration date over? Should I have eaten this? What should I do? You're like, anything that goes in stimulates what's in there, doesn't it? And so you start getting all these ripples. And generally the ripples are not so much fun. They're the things you need to deal with, the things you're worried about, things you're insecure about, things that bother you, things that make you feel weird. You ever feel weird in there? All right. So that's what's going on. You might as well cop to it and be honest. Now the question is, what are you doing about it? And this is where New Year's comes up. This is where you start taking inventory. Yes, it's that way. I didn't make it that way. I didn't ask for it to be that way. That's how it is. Nice to know it's that way inside everybody. I thought I was broken. You're not broken. That's the nature of the human psyche. We can talk about why, but it is. Does it have to be? No. But it is, unless you do some work. Unless you do some work is how it is. If I take water in a vase, a pitcher, and I start tilting the pitcher, you know what's going to happen? The water's going to fall out. And it's going to flow down to the ground. That's the default. If I want it to go up, I got to build some pumps and do some work, don't I? That's the same thing with your psyche. The default for your psyche, given how we've gotten it, is that it's got problems. And it's got problems, and it stores its problems. That's the saddest part. It's not just that something bothers you now. If it bothers you now, you don't let it go. You got stuff in there from 5 years old. You got stuff in there 8 years old and 12 years old. You got stuff in there from 5 minutes ago, hour ago, 10 hours ago, 7 days ago, right or wrong. Every single thing that ever got in there and caused ripples of disturbance and insecurity are still in there. If you went to a movie and you saw somebody and embarrassed you, whatever reason, anything, when you go back to that theater, you're going to feel embarrassed again. Even the person's not even there. You store it inside. So if you start having these problems, and you do, and then you store them inside, guess what you're going to have? Is a major problem inside. And you don't even think about it. But that is what you're doing. Period. Just have somebody say something to you that hurts you. Somebody you like, somebody you normally get along with. They were in a bad mood or you took it wrong. Who the heck knows? They just say something that hurts you. Wait till you see the next time you see that person what goes on inside of you. What happens is the hurt comes back up. And you get afraid it's going to happen again. And all kinds of stuff goes on. Why? Because you stored it inside of you. It's so natural, you don't even think about it. You don't even pay attention to it. It's just sort of like, no, I didn't. It happened by itself. Or I don't know. It's natural. It's how it's supposed to be. Somebody says something that hurts you, you should remember it forever. You have an ex, you divorce them, and it wasn't such a good relationship, then that's something that you don't ever forgive that person. You know, what, are you kidding me? It was a ridiculous thing what happened to me, and I hated that time, and I'm going to remember that for the rest of my life, and I hope he's never happy for the rest of his life. And wait till you see, I'll do everything I can to make sure he's not. And you think that this is reasonable. This is a reasonable way to be. What is a reasonable way to be? To be sensitive to every single thing that's going on. It causes you to feel weird inside, and then anytime anything bothers you inside, you keep it, just to make sure you don't forget it. I don't know why you keep it. I've looked at that very carefully. We're supposed to be the highest species on the planet, the most evolved. That's a stupid thing to do. Like, we're going to go into the new year, let's not do that anymore. I told you once before, what if every time you smelled something that was putrid, you took out a baggie and you captured some of it? Why? I don't want to forget how putrid it was. And then you go dump it in your house, in a room in your house. Every single putrid smell you ever had across your life. And then you wonder, something smells in here. Yeah. I bet it does. Why is that example not exactly what you're doing? Exactly. Every single thing that ever bothered you from the day you were born. I should took my blankie away when I wanted it. Just, Mommy gave it to my sister, not me. Whatever the heck. Every single thing that ever bothered you. You thought it was smart to keep it. And that's why it's such a mess inside. How can it not be? How can your house not smell? If you're the one that captured every putrid smell that you ever smelled and dumped it in your house. I don't even know why I should keep talking. Like, that's enough, isn't it? Right? Go forth and don't do that anymore. And what's so far out is, if you study psychology, guess what they're going to say? Exactly what I just said. They're going to say that the reason you have all these problems inside is what mommy did and what daddy did, and the fact that your first husband did this and your first wife did that. Aren't they going to say that? That what is going on inside of your mind and your heart right now are the result of all of those different bad things that happened to you that built you in there. But what they won't tell you is that you didn't have to do that. They won't tell you that. That's what the masters will tell you. That's why they're masters. They'll look at you and say, yeah, it's obvious if you keep the smells in there, it's going to smell. So why'd you do that? You can't answer. You can't answer why you did that. It's just sort of like you did it, all right? So you come to the point where you realize the psyche is a mess. I'm not comfortable living inside myself. I have an autoimmune disease. I'm allergic to myself, and I'm not comfortable in here. So what are you going to do about it? You don't need to think about it. It happens automatically. Just like storing it happens automatically. Because you're not comfortable. For example, if I walk you into your house where you've dumped all those smells, you're going to go, ew, pew. You're going to hold your nose. You're going to make noises. You're going to do that which happens because you're smelling things. You're going to try and make it better. Maybe you'll buy some gas masks or some things. You know, you get really ingenuitous and say, I'm going to buy some gas masks and always put them on when I go in my house. Oh boy, it's fixed. That's what you're going to do in here. You're going to be uncomfortable in there, and you're going to try and find ways to be comfortable. And as embarrassing as it was to tell you how stupid it is to store everything that ever bothered you inside of you, it's more embarrassing to have to discuss with you what we do to try to be okay. All right? So that basically I had a situation where somebody said something to me that I didn't like. Somebody said something to me and it bothered me about a year ago. So what do I do about it? I've decided to move to Massachusetts. Or upper Vermont, where there's nobody. I think I'll be more comfortable there. As funny as that sounds, that's not an exaggeration. I feel lonely. I don't feel comfortable inside. I don't like to be alone. I just feel alone. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to find somebody to bring into my smelly house with me. Maybe he'll like wearing gas masks too. Whatever the heck it is. In other words, I'm going to leave the problem and I'm just going to put a Band-Aid over it. I'm going to put something on top of it. I'm going to find something that helps to neutralize the problem that I created inside myself. And so everything we end up doing becomes a reaction to what we've already done. It all becomes a reaction to the fact that we stored this junk in there, and now we're not comfortable, and then we try to find a way that the current moment can make us comfortable, even though what we stored was from 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, or whatever. How can that possibly work? It can't possibly work. Do you understand that? And so you come to the point where you wake up and you realize you made a mess in there. But the key point there is you did it. You have to own that. That's what it means to go wisely into the new year. And then your resolution is very, very straight. I think I need to clean house. And I think I need to stop doing what's making me so sick. And that doesn't mean to continue going out there and trying to create and find situations that make you feel better. I'm telling you, there isn't any. And no one will tell you that. You can try, and the act of trying makes it feel better because it seems like I'll get there. As like people are always waiting for their ship to come in. There is no ship. It's not coming in. There isn't. There isn't a person out there that can make you okay. If you are not okay inside yourself, and you indeed did it, how in the world is something or someone outside of you that doesn't even know you and has no control of what you're doing in there going to make it okay in there? It can't work. Sometimes it seems to work for a little while, at least. Why? Because it is possible that someone, for whatever reason, can distract you from yourself. They're so handsome or pretty, they talk so nicely to you, you feel so comfortable being around them. Who the heck knows? Whatever the heck it is, it has the power to distract you from what you were doing in there. And you forget about mommy, and you forget about daddy's thing, and you forget about the first husband or wife, and you forget about the fact that you don't feel good enough and never have. And because, I'm telling you, this is why, get wise, because your consciousness, your awareness of being is being distracted from all this stuff that's going on inside of you. So now you find that you're being pulled into the energy of another person, place, or thing. It can be a car, it doesn't have to be a person, I'm telling you. It can be a vacation you're looking forward to. Whatever it is distracting you from the addiction you have to what you were doing in there. In other words, it didn't get the smell out of the house. You left the house because you were interested enough in what was going on outside. See the difference? The house still smells. You still got that stuff in there. It did not go anywheres. You're just not hanging out in there right now. You ever get so involved in another person that you feel better? Of course, because you're leaving yourself. You're getting involved in somebody else's. It's beautiful. It's not wrong. Don't take it that way, but at least understand what's happening. So the problem with it doesn't last. Does it? It can last for a little while. It doesn't last. Has never lasted and can't possibly last. Why? Because the roots that are going on inside of you are strong. The mesh you built in there is strong. At some point, something is going to happen. That person is going to do something, going to say something, or something else will happen that will cause what is going on inside of you to become strong enough to capture your consciousness and pull it back. Yes or no? Has anybody noticed? Or just once you get involved and fall in love or get attracted to somebody, and that's it, you never come back to your problems. This is reality. It's not wrong to look at it right. It can't do it. It has never done it and will never do it. Okay? All that will happen is something will happen. And to be with that person, it usually is, but it doesn't to be with that person, could be some other event in life that is going to pull you back to your problems. And then when you look at that person, they no longer have the ability to pull you out of yourself. It happens with everything in this world. It can't not happen. You didn't straighten up your inside. You just got distracted by something. That's why people try to run around and always have a new experience. That's why you always try to go to a new place for a vacation. You try to go to a new thing and redecorate your house and try to put new clothes and get a new hairdo and find a new person and a new thing. And why? Because I need to stay distracted from myself. Why? Because I'm not doing so well. So while I am distracted from myself, I'm doing better. Of course you are. Of course there's energy that flows then. You're not all caught up in yourself. But obviously, that's not how you lose yourself. You're still there. You got to go home at some point. Like when you go to bed at night. I'm doing really well, but I'm having nightmares. Yeah, I know. Right? And when I'm fine, except when I first wake up in the morning. Yep, that's right. Very good time to check the barometer and take the temperature. In other words, the stuff is still in there. And if what you're doing is running away from yourself, which is what you're doing when you run from person to person and place to place and event to event and circumstance to circumstance, you're running away from yourself. Where can it lead? You can't run away from you. You can run away from somebody else. You can't run away from yourself. So what's the alternative? Let's get positive here. Real positive. The alternative is to go inside and fix what's going on in there so that you're comfortable inside yourself. So that your starting place is, I am okay. When I wake up in the morning, it's a joyful experience, not a frightening one. When I sleep at night, it's deep and restful, not everything I didn't think about during the day shows up to haunt me, all right? The dreams are beautiful if there are any or there aren't any. And I'm just doing well. And then as you go through the day, you look, and there is no problem of the moment. Or if there is a problem of the moment, it's truly just a problem of the moment, right? That's what you're dealing with right now. There's no problem of the day or problem of the year or problem of your life or anything like that. You aren't doing that inside yourself anymore. That is what it means to be healthy. And every single one of you are capable of being completely and utterly healthy. Just like your body, within reason, is capable of being healthy most of the time, your psyche is capable of being healthy more than your body. Because your body has physical realities, your psyche has no physical reality. It should be the easiest thing in the world to make your psyche be okay. Why? There's nothing in there except what you did. You're not in control of what's going on in the world. You're not always in control of what's going on with your body. You are 100%. Every one of you are 100% in control of your psyche. I know it doesn't seem like it. There's no one else in there, guys. It's you. The way to see that is the future. Do you ever get bothered by thoughts of the future? That things could go wrong, or you get hurt, or somebody could hurt you, or something could happen. Here we go. Well, the future hasn't happened yet. So there is no future. Not really, not now, there's not. Okay, it hasn't existed. The only future that exists is the one you make up with your mind. There's not a single atom or a single bit of energy that has existed in the future yet. The future has not existed. Therefore, the only future that can bother you is the one you made up. Now that's embarrassing. If you're going to make up a future, and that is all you're doing is making it up, why are you making up one that bothers you? I mean, I swear, as funny as that sounds, there's no answer to these questions. They're just absolutely unbelievable what we're doing in there. And we pay no attention to it. Right? Nobody else in there. You're the only one who lives in there. And so you create thoughts of the future that spook you out. And then if you go to a doctor or something and you say, oh, doctor, I'm so afraid of the future. It really just freaks me out, all my thoughts about the future. What the doctor should look at you and say, then stop making thoughts of the future that spook you out and send you home. Doctor, my finger hurts. Why? I keep hitting it with a hammer, right? And every time I hit it with a hammer, it hurts. What should I do? I have a finger that hurts. Well, I hope the doctor tells you stop hitting it with a hammer. Well, if you have anxiety and fears and insecurities and things about the future, make up a better one. Since you're the one who's making it up, well, I can't help you. How can I help you? You can go home and make up another one. That's all scary. You have to learn how to deal with yourself inside. You need to stop making up futures that spook you out. You need to stop collecting every single thing that ever happened to you that bothers you and storing it inside of you. Okay? So when you come to the point that you take inventory, you see, I need to change this. I need to change my relationship with myself. You're so busy trying to have a relationship with other people and other things and so on. That's just to distract you from yourself. There's nothing wrong with anything. It's fine. But it's not going to fix it. So why not do that which is going to fix it and then let things happen? Just so we get that on record properly. When you are fine within yourself, do you think that means you won't like anybody? You'll like everybody because you're fine within yourself. Everything you see will look interesting and exciting and beautiful in its own way. And you just, wow, aren't you interesting? Rather than you're weird. I don't like you. There's nothing to not like because they come in, they drop into you. There's nothing in there that's a problem. So they don't cause a problem. Well, if people don't cause a problem, you like them. So you like everybody. But when you're not okay, then they have to be exactly the way that doesn't hit your not okayness. They have to dress the exact way and talk the exact way and be home when you want them to be home. They have to do every single thing the way that you want. When you are okay, you don't have those criteria because you don't have limitations. So relationships are very, very easy once your relationship with yourself is worked out. Once you work out your relationship with yourself, your relationship with everybody else, I'm not just talking about love affairs, any relationship, work, kids, everything, parents, everything. But if you have not worked out your relationship with yourself, every relationship is very difficult because it hits your stuff. So you come to the point where you eventually realize, and I hope it's now, I have some work to do. That's what spirituality is. Spirituality is very simple. Whew, have I made a mess? I need to stop hitting my finger with a hammer. There. And when you stop it, you will be fine. The moment you stop it, you'll be fine inside. Life will be fun. You see a bird fly, oh, it's make you happy. Why? Because a bird flew. You'll meet somebody, you feel love for them. It's all kinds of stuff. It's just beautiful. It's beautiful. Your house is beautiful once you stop bringing stinky stuff in it and opening it up. Right? Open the windows. Let there be fresh air. Stop doing what's making you sick and you will be well. Rather than continuing to do what makes you sick and then trying to find some sort of compensation to offset. Do you understand the difference? All right. All the spiritual techniques are the first. They are about the willingness to go inside, start of a new year. That's what I'm going to do this year. Straighten this up. All right. How do you do that? Your starting position is, okay, it's a mess in here. It's not okay in here. And then I have this tendency to constantly grab at things to try to make it be okay. Anything that makes me feel better, I want to own it. I want to grab it. I want to take it home with me. I want to keep it. I want to own whatever makes me feel better. The moment it happens, my whole heart, my whole everything jumps out. Isn't that neat? You have energy inside that tries to grab and hold. Yes or no? Anybody relate to that? Or if it makes me feel worse, I don't have anything to do with it. I want to push it away. Get away from me. So you got this thing inside, your energy system, that's a mess, and its reaction to the mess, that's what it is, a reaction to the mess, is if anything happens inside that looks a little bit better, you grab at it and run after it. If anything happens that looks a little bit worse, you push it away, you reject it, you repulse it. And so the whole of your being is being run by your reaction to your inability to handle yourself. So what your starting point is, which you won't like, is you're in there, you see it's a mess in there. Things are going to happen that cause it to get a little bit worse. You need to be okay with that. You need to be able to stay calm and centered and clear that this is my stuff getting hit. That's what's happening. It's not anything the world is doing. This is my stuff getting hit. And it is causing a sense of discomfort inside. Is that okay with you? That has to be okay with you. That doesn't sound like you want that to be okay with you. No, it has to be okay with you that you are in there and that things happen outside that cause your stuff to get disturbed. Why? Why does that have to be okay with me? Because it's real. Because it happens all the time. And if you're not okay with it, you're going to do something about it. And we just spent the whole time talking about what you're going to do about it. You're going to do something about it that doesn't work. You can do something very temporal, very reactionary, You'll just be running around like a chicken with your head cut off, going nowheres, and it'll stay a mess inside. So okay, I get it. What do you mean I have to be able to be okay with it? It means that people are going to say things sometimes that cause you to not feel comfortable inside. You have to be willing to say, that's okay with me. What is that? I don't feel comfortable inside right now because of what that person said. How do I do that? You relax. You just relax in the face of this discomfort you feel inside. And what will happen over time is you will find that you are okay, even with that a part of you is not okay, but you're okay. The moment you're okay that a part of you is not okay, then you're okay. In other words, there's layers of your being. You go to a deeper layer. That's what's happening when you relax in the face of your shallower layer. You relax and you start identifying with the part that's okay instead of identifying with the part that reacted. And that is your entire spiritual growth. That is what meditation's about. That is what surrender's about. That's what every single thing is about, is what I just told you. Is you learn to relax in the face of these reactions that are going on inside of you. The more you can do it, the faster you grow and the deeper you go. You show me someone who has said, I'm going to do it all the time no matter what, and I'll show you someone that is growing so fast, they're like a rocket ship taking off. Every day of their life, they are a different person, and you can see it. You see it in their aura, you see it around them. Someone is doing some serious inner work. And it's a beautiful thing. Why would you not be capable of it? You just decide to do it. You're not trying to manipulate the outside to be the way you want or to not be the way you don't want. You're not trying to change the reactions that are going on inside of you. You're not caught in either of those layers. You're being the one who has said, that's a mess. I am not going to hang out with it. I'm not going to suppress it. I'm just going to be me, relaxing behind it. I want to see if I can stay calm and centered in the face of these different reactions that are going on in my psyche. And the minute you start, you're going to see the whole world changes. You used to have to react and solve and run after every single thing that ever happened, for or against. Now all of a sudden, you have a center inside yourself that's not running anywhere. That's calm. That's serene. And what's funny is we started this whole thing by saying you're not peaceful inside, you're not serene inside. We didn't even do anything yet, and we are. That's the power of witness consciousness. That's the power of the seat of self. You don't have to fix the world to be the way you need it to be so your sick psyche isn't regurgitating. You don't need to fix your sick psyche. Believe me, it will fix itself. You did it. You made it that way by running and grabbing and doing everything every time something happened. The moment you stop doing it, I'm telling you, over time, it will calm down. It will fall away. It's such a natural path. That's true spirituality. It's the path of surrender, the path of acceptance, the path of witness consciousness. So you just decide this year, I'm going to do that more than I did it before. That's as simple as that, all right? Not I need a new husband or a new wife, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that, or I'm going to change my diet. And that's something I'm going to do anything. It's just another trip around the block. You decide, I'm in here. This is my castle, my kingdom, my house. I'm cleaning house. How do I do that? I am aware that things are going to happen that cause past patterns to be stimulated inside of me. I've lived in her a long time. I wasn't born yesterday. I feel fear. I feel insecurity. I feel self-conscious. I feel embarrassed. I feel need. I feel whatever the heck it is. I feel lonely. I don't feel comfortable. I am going to learn that when that happens, that I relax and just lean away from it. It's your psyche. You're not your psyche. You're the consciousness that's experiencing these things. And so if you do this, every time you do it, you have stepped up your pace of evolution. If you'd like to know what it'd be like to be free in this lifetime, do that. Well, where's the technique? That's the technique. Whoa, I don't understand. I'm sure you don't. It's because you don't want to, all right? I don't understand, doctor. What does the hammer got to do with the finger? You are reacting to the past mess that you stored inside, and then you are projecting that on people, places, and things outside of you, and running around trying to make a world that matches your mess inside. Wow, what a waste. In essence, we're going to stop hitting ourselves with the hammer. How do you do that? Let's go take that a little further. Let's say someone actually catches on. Well, maybe he's not so crazy to tell me to stop hitting with the hammer. Maybe there is an association between the hammer and the hurt finger. Okay? Well, we'll have an experiment. Stop hitting the finger with the hammer, and let's see how we feel. Let's say you decide, okay, I'll try that. And you're going to find out that you can't do it. Why? Because the hammer wasn't really doing it by itself. It was your other hand that was actually moving the hammer. And there must have been a reason you were doing it. How do I know? Because you were doing it. So the fact that you decided to stop doing it means you have to face the reason that you were doing it. That's what it means to work yourself through the layers of your being. So maybe eventually you'll get down to Daddy was a carpenter and he didn't let you play. Who the heck knows? I don't want to even imagine why you're hitting yourself with a hammer, all right? But I'm sure it seems perfectly reasonable to you, all right? Dirty. Daddy's been dead for 30 years. Now you got a hurt finger. That works out real well. All right, but net result is you're going to face why it is that you were doing it, and then eventually you're going to get to the point where there's an urge, there's an impulse inside that's making you doing what you're doing. There's called an urge, an impulse, a drive, isn't there? There's a stimulus that starts, and the next thing you know, the energy goes in that direction, and then you're thinking a given way, acting a certain way, talking a certain way, or hitting your finger a certain way. You'll come down to the core of this urge, of this impulse, of this reaction. And I don't care how deep you go. When you hit the bottom, it's going to boil down to this. You analyze all you want, do whatever you want. That thing's going to move. Why? Because it's there. And you better be able to handle that. Otherwise, you'll do it again. Understand that? It's like smoking. I want to stop smoking. Then stop putting cigarettes in your mouth. I guarantee you, if you do that, you will stop smoking. It's unbelievable. 100% guarantee. Free. No patches. No nothing. All right? You say, oh, really? It's that easy? It's that easy. It's amazing. If you don't put a cigarette in your mouth, you'll never smoke again for the rest of your life. Okay? Sounds easy. But then there's going to be this urge after dinner or after this or after something where you used to smoke. You're going to feel this urge. There's going to be this impulse. Now, if you pay attention, it went like this, and the arm went toward the cigarette. It's not like you did it. You didn't sit there and say, oh, I said I'm not going to smoke anymore, but now I think I would like to. Or no. It happened deep inside. This habitual impulse started there. I don't care what you do. When it's said and done, you need to be able to handle that impulse without going where it was driving you. And the moment you can do that, you will never smoke again. Like, it's your center of will. It's your center of volition. You live in there. You're the boss. Yes, there's all these other forces. There are habitual patterns and, past some scars. Call it whatever you want. There's all kinds of stuff in there. But when it's said and done, you're the boss. Period. And I'm not handling anyone who says, but I don't have that much willpower. That's a lie. How do you like that? That's a lie. I'm not lying to you. I know you're not lying to me. You're lying to you. You have absolutely as much willpower as you want. You just choose not to exercise it. No, I can't. You're wrong. I can't. Okay? Here goes. So you don't have the ability to withstand that impulse to pick up that cigarette. No, I've tried. I tried quitting 6 times. I can't do it. Okay, well, let's watch. Here we get an impulse. Situation happens. People are smoking. You see it. Whatever it is. You feel an impulse. Your hand starts moving. I'll say to you, $6 million cash right now if you don't pick up that cigarette. It's not touched. Oh, I thought you didn't have the willpower. I thought you told me you didn't have the willpower. Well, for $6 million I do. Well, OMG. So it turns out you do have the ability. You are just choosing not to exercise it. Okay? You're not going to go anywhere if you do that. So instead, you come inside yourself and you start to sit in a seat. Work your way back. Start with little things. Somebody beeps at you. Somebody doesn't say hello. Whatever it is. Some tiny little stupid thing. You get a piece of ketchup on your clothes and you got to go back to school or work. Just some meaningless, stupid thing. And instead of letting it bother you, you relax and realize this is fun. I've got a boo-boo inside and I'm just going to relax behind it. And then you tell me how far you're willing to go. How far you willing to go. Once you start to see, if you let it go, it goes. If you don't keep it, it won't stay in there. So if you're willing to relax and release, it will relax and release. Think you'll have a thought about something that could happen 5 years from now and start bothering you. Right then, relax and release. And it will go through instead of taking up the next 3 days of your life. You're doing it. It's just like that cigarette. Are you willing to do that with your thoughts? You don't have to control your thoughts. It's not about controlling your thoughts. It's about changing your relationship to your thoughts. And once you're willing to do that with your thoughts and realize what a bundle of trouble they are. There's some collection I made up in here of smelly stuff. Just relax and you'll see. They won't bother you. They'll pass by. Then are you willing to do it with your heart? No one will talk to you this way. I'm telling you, you have to learn to do it with your thoughts before you stand a chance with your heart. You are way more sensitive about what's going on in your heart than you are about your thoughts. In fact, your thoughts are about how to fix what's wrong with your heart. When you're thinking, can I find somebody? Well, I'm not happy in this relationship. What should I do? It's because your heart ain't okay. And then your mind starts thinking about what to do about it. So while you're listening to your thoughts and changing the world, you ain't dealing with your heart. But once you are willing to come in here and let those thoughts go, oh, I better put a warning sign on this, Surgeon General. Should you decide to be letting go of these thoughts instead of doing what they tell you, at some point, you will start to feel a heart that you didn't even know that thing was going on in there like that. It will be very powerful and very strong and very hot because it's not okay, because that's where you stored all your stuff. You need to be able to relax through that. Once you can relax through your thoughts, you will be able to relax through your heart. I guarantee you. Don't push it away. You don't fight with it. You just relax. And yes, it'll sometimes come up with all kinds of weird feelings that are difficult to experience. Would you rather keep them or let them go? If they're difficult, why do you want to keep them? So if you'll just relax, they will pass. And this is called the purification of your heart. That's what this whole process is. And you can do it. Why would you not be able to do it? Anyone can do it. This is what you do this year. God, I'd love for you to do that this year because I want to see you at the end of the year. I want to see you after a week. Because what you're doing is you're freeing yourself. You're finding a place within yourself that you're always okay. And what will happen is once you can let go of the mind and once you can let go of the heart, not suppress, you're not fighting in there. There's no fight. It's a relaxation and a releasing. So let's say insecurity starts to come up or jealousy or fear. You just feel scared. I always put a qualifier. If you're outside and a lion is coming at you and you feel scared, good, run. If you're sitting alone in your house thinking about when anybody will love you when you get older, let it go. Don't run. Don't run and start calling people. Will you love me when I'm older? How do you know you will? Will you promise? How do you know you'll still look over me? I don't know if I believe that. Don't do that, please. You're not going to get anywhere. So it comes up and you feel this. You just relax. Okay, fine. It feels insecure for a minute. In other words, how are you dealing with these feelings that are coming up in your heart? It's not that they're not there. Nobody's denying them. Nobody's saying they're wrong. Yes, you feel jealousy. Yes, you feel insecurity. Yes, you feel embarrassed. Yes, you wish you could just melt away and not be there because of what you said was so stupid, right? And your whole heart drops out from under you. Yes, yes. Welcome to humanness. That's the human heart. That's not the issue. The issue is what are you doing about it? And when the answer is relaxing and releasing, so that it can just come and go, just like anything else. It's just a cloud passing in the sky. It will be gone if I let it. There'll be something else that gets said. There'll be the next person. I don't have to bother myself about it. It will just come. And you don't believe me until you start doing it. And you realize, oh my God, I've been driving myself crazy. Everybody only cares about themselves. They don't care about what I said. They didn't even hear me. They were busy thinking about what they were going to say next. It was their turn, right? Nobody cares. You're the one who's making the mess of it all. And then you make a mess of it. Because you talk about it. Well, I didn't really mean that. I know you guys think I'm stupid. That's a week later, you bring it back up. Well, then you are stupid. Because nobody else thought about it ever again except you constantly for a week. Have you caught on yet that that's what's going on? So you let go. You let go. You learn to just let it come and go. And you find out it's fine. This is called a New Year's resolution, guys. It's a paradigm shift in how you're dealing with yourself. It's not a way to try and make it not happen. It's not a way to try and be happier even though all this mess is in there. It's a real change in your life and how you're dealing with yourself. And you just decide to do that. Once you are able to not try to use the world to fix the boo-boos that are inside, but instead let the mind pass. You know, of course there's reasons you use your mind for intellectual reasons. I'm talking about all the personal junk you do with yourself. Don't misunderstand what I'm saying. You were given a mind for a reason. Use it. Just don't use it to try to figure out what to do with your heart, because it doesn't know, and it's going to tell you to do stuff outside, and it won't work. If what you're doing with your mind is figuring out, how can I be okay? Why did she say that? I wonder why she said that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe she said it for this. You're driving yourself crazy. Your heart's not comfortable, so your mind's puking. So you learn to do this differently. You relax inside, and it's not comfortable because you're having to let go of things that you used to run away from. You're much better off letting them go than you have to run away from them. You be a trooper. You just, okay, this is my work. People go through all kinds of things. People get cancer, they have to do chemo. Some people are amazing about it, just amazing. That's bad stuff. It's a terrible thing, but they go through it. And the best they can get is to get back to healthy. You go through this, you go way beyond any place you were before. All of a sudden, you're becoming a liberated being. You learn to let go of those thoughts and let go of that stuff that's coming up in your heart and just relax behind it and just let it pass through, let it pass. And I always end my talks by telling you what will happen, because I know what will happen. You will end up not getting pulled into the problems of the heart, which then pull you into the solutions of the mind, which then pull you into a fight with the world. You don't do that anymore. Why? Because you cut it at the bud, you cut it at the root. The heart moves, you relax. So now you get to not get pulled into that mess. It can still be there, little things every once in a while, but it won't be, because you're not in there playing around with it. You let go. Now all of a sudden you'll find that you're in a very different place. I'll talk about it, but I can't paint the picture for you. You have to go there. You got to go there. What is go there? By not leaving, you end up there. That's how you end up in the self. You do not go to the self. Where is the self? I know I have one. I need to find it. How do I know it's not my mind? No, don't do any of that, please. By not leaving, you end up in the self. That's the only way you end up in the self. If something is pulling you away, you'll feel it pulling you away. The heart pull, the mind pull, the things outside, they pull it away. If you go, you left. If you don't go, if you just relax and let go, you will not go. You back your way into the seat of self. You do not walk to it. How could you? You're it. It's not a thing. So it's about not leaving. Does that help? It's about not going with those forces that are pulling you into them. Well, where do I end up? You end up in the seat of your being. And the seat of your being happens to be the most beautiful place in the entire universe. That's what every master has told you. That's what Christ meant when he said the kingdom is within you. It is literally the most beautiful place in the entire universe. And so you relax, and all of a sudden, instead of being pulled by the lower energies, you start to feel love, real love, for no reason. Like you wake up in the morning and you're in ecstasy. You're just feeling waves of love waving through you, but not lasting 2 seconds, just staying, pulling you into it. It's the nature of your being. That's the seat of self. That's what it feels like. It's called Satchidananda, eternal conscious ecstasy. That is not somebody else's being. That is your being. Well, why don't I feel that? Because you're busy getting all involved in the stupid feelings of this lower stuff that you built in there, the mess. You're getting all involved in the mess. So what you feel is the mess. You're going to feel wherever you hang out. That's what they say. Baba said, meditate on the self. Honor and worship your own being, for God dwells within you as you. That was Muktananda saying, right? Relax back into the seat of self and it will all happen. You will feel tremendous love, and because you feel the love and the joy and the upliftment, you don't want to get involved in all that messy lower junk. There's no reason to store all that, and so you don't, and then it falls away. And eventually it totally falls away. Ramakrishna said, because people always ask me, will it go away? I'll quote a master. Ramakrishna said, the purified mind is no different than the self, now that we've talked about the self. But I thought the mind was full of all this stuff. That's because you've been reaching into it and putting all that stuff in there, keeping all that stuff in there. If you let go, that's what it means by the purified mind. It doesn't mean the mind that doesn't swear or think of bad things. It means the mind that is just pure mind. There's nothing stored in there. There's no garbage anymore. Then it becomes a perfect reflection of yourself. And your mind also goes into ecstasy. It all becomes ecstasy. Until eventually you know the state. It all merges. So, New Year, Happy New Year. You have the right to regain the greatness that you are. Most people will not. They will continue with the picayune, struggle and suffer as a Buddha meant. They just continue struggling to try and make things be the way they want them to be so that they can be okay. Because they haven't caught on, there is no such thing. There is no such thing. Just go hit your finger with a hammer and wonder why it hurts. But there is what you're looking for. There is a state of total well-being. There is a state of great love and great joy, which then can be shared with everybody. It's not personal, but you're not going to get it from outside of you. The outside cannot compensate for the mess you made inside. You've got some work to do in there. All right? Contemplate these things. I would love you to feel nothing but love and joy for the rest of your life. Work on these things. Misguided.